All right, welcome to Your Time, Your Money, where your time is just as valuable as your money. I'm sitting with my associate, Lauren.
Hey, everybody.
She is absolutely en fuego lately, just absolutely killing it. Lauren is really doing a great job. Super happy that she's with us.
Love it.
And we have a great episode for you today. Mm-hmm. It's how to get to $1 million as fast as possible.
It's exciting.
Right? And it's like without winning it on a scratch-off ticket. Right? And doing it, the hard way, which is saving. But, we definitely wanted to talk about this because, back, 20, 30 years ago, having $1 million seemed like a lot of money.
Absolutely. You were set for life.
Right? And nowadays, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're set.
No, you say that number and you think it's amazing, and then people get to retirement, you get there and you're
that's just not enough, right?
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about this because a lot of people do a great job of the piggy bank approach to retirement and just in general saving. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, you could save $50,000 a year for 20 years, right? And that's going to be difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a way. I mean, $50,000,
$50,000 after taxes.
Life, like you're supposed to eat during this time.
No eating, no buying new clothes,
Yeah.
No subscription services. No, but I mean, for all intent and purpose, our goal here is to say that we don't necessarily need $50,000 a year.
Right.
To get to the $1 million mark in a similar period of time, and we use the compounding effect to make this happen. But you have a very cool chart in front of you, and I love surfing the internet, and I love finding cool little niche videos. And Lauren actually has a cool chart. I wanted to talk about the time breakdown on getting from the hardest part to get to $1 million is what?
Your first 100.
The first 100,000.
Which sounds, it's a tenth. It's a tenth of where you're trying to go.
1/10, but it takes how much time?
8 years.
Right?
On average.
Right. We're talking about averages here. You might have a killer year in the stock market.
Sure.
And then the next year might be terrible.
Yep.
But investing in kind of a low and slow approach.
Consistently.
Right. Takes 8 years to make your first 100. And what about the next piece?
The next piece, 100 to 200.
Yeah.
It's only 5 years.
So
you're immediately cutting it.
Gets cut almost by 60%.
Yeah.
But I'm doubling my money.
Yep.
And then what about the next?
The next one, 200 to 300,000, only 4 years. So again, you cut it by another year, half from your first 100,000.
Right. But you made it up in that time period. So, I think the most important thing is that in the back half of that chart, how much time does it take to get from 900 to $1 million? I'm guessing about a year.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, a year.
Right.
One and a half.
About a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
So for those people out there that, you're building your savings accounts or you're building your brokerage account, the consistency piece is find, a really great investment model that you like and be consistent with it.
You have to stick to it. Nothing's going to just pop overnight, right?
It's hard.
It says 8 years, 0 to 100, not 1 month, not 1 day of day trading, right? It takes time and consistency.
Eight years of whatever that investment is.
Yeah.
Again, the investment might vary, and because it's based on the rate of return.
Sure.
I mean, if I'm spending $500 a month in my individual brokerage account and I'm buying a stock and I'm making a ton of money on that stock, it may be way faster.
Sure.
Right? But
even better.
But in the process of this happening, ready? I'm gonna throw some banana peels at you here.
Okay.
Right? So let's go back 10 years. Let's go back in time, right? Global stock sell-off. Here's reasons why we wouldn't want to invest, right? For the last 10 years.
Yeah.
2015, global stock sell-off.
Yep.
2016, Brexit.
Yeah, messy.
2017, major hurricanes.
Yep.
All across the country, right? The southeastern part of the country. 2018, trade war. 2019, the repo market explodes, right? Cars, homes, RVs, boats, right?
And 2020 was pretty easy.
2020, global pandemic, COVID, right? We all know because we were stuck at home with our kids, right? 2021, supply chain because of the pandemic. These are all reasons why I wouldn't invest.
Yeah.
2022, rate hikes.
Yep.
Now the interest rates start going up. 2023, bank failures because of the rate hikes.
Scary. It's
right?
scary.
This is a domino effect. Yep. 2024, the AI bubble.
Yeah.
The bubble of technology. 2025, tariffs. In that time frame, Lauren, how much has the S&P gone up from 2015? You know?
I mean, it's been 10 years.
10 years later, and all these reasons why I shouldn't invest.
Yeah, I'm going to say over 200.
202%. So people might be water cooler talking you to death, and you're sitting there and you're thinking about why I shouldn't be putting money in a low and slow vehicle like an ETF or a Vanguard fund or whatever the case may be.
Right.
You have all these reasons why you shouldn't invest, and in those 10 years time, with all that stuff, 202% for the S&P. Holy smokes. Right?
I'd be pretty happy with that kind of return.
Even with all those negative things. And this is where you keep going back to consistency. The fastest way to get to the $1 million mark is to be a consistent saver. And, that might require you to have a side hustle. And that's all the money from that side hustle might go into your investment portfolio.
Side hustles, sacrifices you have to make.
And that's where I give people a lot of credit. And it kills me because if you have a bank account where all that side hustle money goes, you're really shooting yourself in the foot unless you plan on spending that money.
Sure.
But if you're putting it just into you could be putting it into a high yield savings, but you're not going to get to the $1 million mark in more than 20 years.
That's a different goal. That money's for something else. That's a different goal. Yeah, that's not how you're getting to $1 million.
Short term.
Yeah.
So I wanted to highlight some of these things because as we meet with our clients, especially younger clients, they see that we're at an all-time high in the stock market. Well, when I was a younger client, the market was at an all-time high.
Right.
And now, again, I'm 42, and now the market's again at an all-time high. So I guess in the words...
Strange how that just keeps happening.
In the words of the infamous Ted Davis, who was my rep at Forrester's when we were here, he said, Matt, the market's going to hit 40,000 before it hits 10,000. And sure as ever, it's at 40,000. So I guess in my words, at some point, the market will hit 80,000 before it goes back to 10,000. I just don't know when.
Right.
That's the hard part.
Right.
So I'll continue to fixate on focusing on educating our clients and our prospects and our listeners on the fact that you aren't going to become a millionaire overnight.
No.
And from the infamous words of Warren Buffett, get rich slow.
Yeah.
Right? But I have to make sacrifices.
And there's never going to be a perfect time.
No.
To your point right there.
Oh my God, Brexit! I can't invest.
Exactly.
Right?
It's consistency and it's just staying the course.
Yeah, and at some point we're going to go deeper down the ladder on a podcast with different investment choices.
Sure.
But in this case, we're talking about finding a way to be on a straight line and know what your goal is. And it's funny, I was talking to one of my athletes today, and I said, "Hey, what are your goals for this season, or what are your goals for the summer?" And she said, "Well, I don't really know." And I said, "Well, then you're just kind of wandering in the night if you don't know what your goals are, right?" We always appreciate you tuning in. We hope you liked our episode. The fastest way to $1 million, and obviously, Lauren said this in jest, but I believe it. Call your Iron Tree advisor. We can help you get there. As soon as we can, obviously. But if you want to touch base with us, you can call us at 844-444-YTYM. You can always email us at irontreefinancial@ceterais.com. Sam is, like usual, doing a great job behind the camera. And obviously, if you like us, please make sure you give us a like and check out our videos on YouTube. So, as always, it's your time
and your money.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Your Time, Your Money. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to share this with friends, family, coworkers, anyone else that you think might be interested. If you do have questions or topics, you can always email them to irontreefinancial@ceterais.com. Please follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Spotify, Google Play, and many other sources that were available. And you can reach us at 844-444-YTYM. And as always, it's your time and your money. Cetera Investors is the marketing name of Cetera Investment Services. Securities and insurance products are offered through Cetera Investment Services, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Advisory services are offered through Cetera Investment Advisors, LLC. Cetera is under separate ownership from any other named entity.